Hello and welcome back to Kilted Swine BBQ. Today we're going to have a smoke talk. My name is Bob Sellers, JR, and I'm your host and pitmaster for this channel. When you get a smoker, you have to deal with how you're going to get smoke from said smoker, or if you have a grill, how you're going to get it on your grill. For some tips and guides I've collected and put up on my website, kiltedswinebbq.com, you can find some out on YouTube and others. As well as if you're interested in my books in the Weird Wild West, you can visit sellersjr.com. For smoke from most smokers, you're going to have a variety of options. You're going to have splits, like from Hot Sticks, is a great option to consider. They sell bags of it at the grocery store. It typically is not the same. It doesn't have the bark on it that I've seen. Comes in nice small pieces. Depending upon the size of your smoker and how you're going to be putting it in, they will work really well. There's others you can buy the packages of wood outside the grocery store or gas station and cut them down as well. If you want to get a little more selective of cherry or hickory or whatnot, you can find that at different companies that do sell the wood products. Now you can get into wood chunks such as these that come in a variety of flavors, so to speak, cherry, hickory, and whatnot. Or you can get down to wood chips, which are much finer shredded pieces of wood that you can put into your smoker through various methods that I'll talk about. And another way to do it is to go into the pellets. Now pellets, there's two kinds you can get. The kind you shouldn't use, which are heating pellets for your house, don't use those. Or the pellets that are designed specifically for grills to use. Now, for example, in this video, and I don't have any association with this product, I'm going to be using the premium hardwood pellets Traeger Signature. I picked up an amazing pellet smoker tube. It's a 6-inch tube. And then I picked up a Buzzlet pellet maze smoker just to not play favorites with all of the different ones. Maze also makes one. The reason I like the Buzzlet a little better is that it had a little bit better design, in my opinion, where you have the flat spaced out better from the different channels. And then you have what's called a smoke box. What a smoke box is, now for the example in this video, I'm not going to be using this today, I just loaded up to show you. On Gassy Gertie, my gas smoker in particular, I have to be able to get smoke, and I've used several of these. I have 3 of them that I rotate out. This wood happens to be dry in the video, but when I'm actually smoking with it, I would go through and soak them for about anywhere from 20 minutes to half an hour. Some people use water, some use apple juice, as long as it's not flammable. With a gas smoker, you really have to be cautious about that. Now, with Old Red, I have an opportunity where I could use that if I were to put the smoke box, for example, on the ceramic top. Now, this works the exact same way as it does in Gassy Gertie, where you're over the fire source, but you're not directly taking heat from it. So the wet wood, again, you're going to have soaked it, would smolder and give off smoke. Now, in contests where I've used this with Gassy Gertie, I have one in reserve so I can quick do a hot swap, pun not intended, to refresh it and not have to wait while I load it up or unload it. You will want to have gloves that can take high temperature, or I have a big heavy spatula, because this is one happens to be cast iron. They do make metal ones for it as well. Now, with the smoker that I have here, as well as with the grills that you can get of various sources, you would put your charcoal and wood chunks down there to start the fire and plan out to have enough in there for the whole cook. The problem comes in, or opportunity as it were, is when that runs out. So you have to lift the grill up and take whatever meat you're cooking, put it to the side, add more wood, or reload whatever you happen to be using. Now with the maize, the advantage of this has is you can light it, and depending upon the size of the maize, they make bigger ones. You can get as many hours depending upon if you light both sides of it, as well as with the tubes that you can put down. Now this is one I got from Menards. It's a long tube that will give you probably about 8 hours supposedly of smoking. I've not tried that to know. And this is again the Amazing one I've loaded with, so I'm going to light them for the example. That one supposedly gives you about 4 hours of smoke. Now the advantages of the tubes is that to save yourself some grief, you can put them on the grill, and that way you can put them above your meat. Like in the case of the acorn, I could put them on the rack above and have them smoking while the meat's down below. So let me set that up. Setup for the pellets is very easy. One public service announcement is there's different types of fuels that are sold in cans that look identical, and they come in different colors. Propane is blue, oxygen I believe is red, and it might be acetylene in yellow. I could be wrong, and probably am on the other two. However, that being said, make sure you're buying what you're looking for, not what you think you're buying, and buy the nozzle that is for that particular fuel that you're using, so you don't have any major problems or incidents where things go awry when you go to light it. If you feel that you're colorblind in any way, talk to a sales associate and ask them what can to get for what you're trying to do, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you whichever store you happen to go into. So in order to light the two tubes, I'm only going to use the small one from Amazing, and I'm going to use just partially loaded on either side of the maize. Now in this case, what I was talking about is you could put the maize up above, or you could put the maize down below on the porcelain if you wanted to during the cook, depending upon what you're cooking and how you want to get your smoke. The advantage of doing that is that you can get ready access to it to refill it should you decide you need to. All of this can be done in conjunction with the wood that you put in your initial fire to start the smoke going from down below, or in place of it altogether. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the torch. What you want to do here is put this on for a good minute, and you'll see that you're already getting smoke off of that. You want to get the flame going on the end. Some people will put it along the bottom here. But you can see how the smoke comes off of this right away. You want to make sure you get it hot so it doesn't go out. And while that's burning like a candle, you can do the same thing with your maize. What I'm going to do is adjust these. What you want to try to avoid is jumping over of the walls within the maize to start other pellets on fire. Now there's two schools of thought. You could do one end of the maize and let it burn all the way around. You can do both ends of the maize and let them meet in the middle. Depends on how much smoke and how much time you're going to have when you're going in there. So what I'm doing here, I'm not blocking your view. I'm starting to make sure that there's a flame going. You want to make sure that the fire starts on the end of these so they don't go out during your smoke. One thing with pellets you want to make sure you look at is read reviews. I have several listed on my website from other people that have talked about different contents, burning and whatnot. One thing you do run into with a pellet cooker can be dust that gums up the auger. Here you don't have that problem because obviously you're just setting them in there and letting them burn to meat in the middle, as the case may be. So let that go for about a minute. Make sure you got this burning. So what we'll do is when we get to the point, we're going to blow it out like a candle, just so that it's smoking. Important thing is to let it go long enough to make sure that's caught on fire properly. And that should be good. So now we're going to do is let that burn, and I'll be right back. I've let a few minutes pass. I've got my fireproof gloves. Well, not fire resistant up to about 900 degrees. What you want to do is take and blow this out. Now you can see how it's smoking up really well, and you can take and lay it down on the grill. That way, if any of the pellets, as you see there, fall into the ceramic harmlessly. And next, what you can do is do the same thing with that. And you see how the smoke is coming off quite well. From those, I have really good smoke coming off from both of them. So then you can close the smoker and open up the vents as you want, and voila, you're in business. Now, depending upon what type of pellet tool that you buy, you can get anywhere from 4 to 8 to 12 hours of smoke coming out, which is great if you need it for that long. Some meats only need an hour or two, so there is some caution to talk about with that. But you can see how we have a good smoke coming out. You can let that settle in, and I think obviously with these two, having both of these in there, I have way too much smoke going. But for this test, that way you have an idea of what you'd have. Now, with the smoke box that I talked about earlier, you could also put that down the porcelain underneath, and it's fairly easy to get to, more so than probably adding wood to the charcoal down below. But I wouldn't necessarily use pellets in the smoke box. I would stick to using the wood chips soaked and wet and drained. Should mention that, is you don't want to put them in so it's full of water. What I do is I put them in a bucket, soak them in water, and then I drain out the water, make sure they're not going to be wet. When I pour them in here, it's just the wet wood. Then you put that on top of the porcelain here, and the Gassy Gertie, she has a metal little cup that you can put them in over the flame. You can see how two of these working in conjunction can get you quite a bit of smoke, depending upon how choked down you choke down the smoker, and perhaps affect the smoke that's coming out. Like anything, give it a try when you do your smoker or grill. Primarily the pellets are probably used more on grills than non pellet smokers. because they burn it. For example, in my Assassin 24 as an experiment, I put some down in my ash pan below the fire, and they burned. They did not smolder. In the Assassin 24, for those who don't know, it's a gravity fed. And gravity fed puts the fire above where you put your wood versus below where you put your wood in a conventional smoker type situation such as this one. Now, these will burn for quite a while and give you the smoke if you want to do that. Now, another advantage of the pellet type tube or maze or whatever you want to use it for is cold smoking. Cold smoking is when you're cooking at less than 90 degrees. Probably not out in California or down in Florida, but anywhere else around. As long as you can keep the temperature under that, you can put this in smoked cheese, fish, or anything else that you want to get a smoked flavor into. They work really well for that. So in my Assassin 24, I have 4 big racks, so I could set up these in there and have a great smoke going across different levels for cheeses or whatnot that I wanted to do. Or you can do it in a smaller cooker such as the Acorn here, as you can see going along. So I hope you like this video. If so, please select like. Consider subscribing. Every subscription helps. Eventually I'll get sponsors at some point down the road. And share. There are plenty of videos, as you'll find on YouTube. I have several linked from my website on kiltedswinebbq.com on different ways to get smoke, whether it's the splits or the chunks or the chips or the pellets. There's also hexagonal logs that you can get of charcoal. I've not tried those, but the ideal with the pellets in this situation is you don't have to have fire to get the smoke, other than starting it. You don't have to have a burning grill or smoker to keep the smoke going. Unless it's lit properly and burning, it'll slowly smoke like a cigar going along, and you can see as I'm talking how slowly they're burning around. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and look forward to putting out more as I play around with both my Assassin and my Acorn. I have 2 other smokers. The one I mentioned before is Gassy Gertie, which is a gas charcoal mix. I do not use charcoal in her because she's small enough that I felt gas was not appropriate. And I have an Oklahoma Joe, Mean Jolene, that I have absolutely no problem getting smoke because I have hers. And she's an offset, and I use wood as both my fuel and my augmentation, as you would see here, adding hickory or whatnot to it. But this smoker and the Assassin offer you an opportunity to be able to, much like the Gassy Gertie, add accents of smoke versus having smoke as the main fuel going up. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for stopping by.